Well, hey, thanks again for sending in your questions regarding our recent sermons. We really have loved engaging with you in what questions you have. Before we talk about this week's question, we want to remind you, if you are watching this on Friday, April 23rd, when it is first released, our in-person service will not be on Sunday morning this week. It will be tomorrow evening, Saturday, April 24th at 6 p.m. because there's supposed to be a bunch of rain Sunday morning, and since we're having outdoor services, we need to move our service time to Saturday evening. You've received other communications about that. You're still reserving your spot in the exact same way, but if you come here on Sunday morning, you will be alone, and apparently you will be wet. So please come on Saturday evening to our in-person service this week. Well, for our sermon question, we had somebody write in curious about my comment toward the end of the sermon saying these 24 elders in Revelation chapter 4 and Revelation chapter 5, are they angels or are they people or are they something else? And I said that they are probably angels. So my reason for that is first we probably want to say angels as a kind of expanded definition of angel as just a heavenly being. There is probably a distinction between heavenly beings, just like there's a distinction between earthly beings. So first, let me clarify when I said angel, probably a better way to say that is a heavenly being and not specifically an angel, because we're not told that. There are other angels in that passage, and then there are these creatures which look kind of strange, and everybody's doing a different thing. But all of them, in my mind, seem to be heavenly creatures, not men from the earth. The reason that you might think that they're men from the earth is, depending on what translation of the Bible you're reading, whether it's King James or New King James, or I think some other ones, there's a word in verse 9 that says that God, or the Lamb, purchased us from all the tribes of the nations of men. Instead of other versions say God purchased men from all the different tribes, or God purchased people from all the different tribes and nations of the earth. But in King James and New King James, it says God purchased us. And if it is us, if it says us there, then it is definitely people who are the 24 elders. It is not angels. We have no reason to believe that Jesus' blood purchased angels, that Jesus' blood redeemed angels. We actually don't have any reason to believe that there's a path for angels to be redeemed at all. Fallen angels seem to remain fallen angels. But again, we don't have a lot of information about how salvation or sanctification or grace would ever work with angels. We're not told that information. But from what we are told, it doesn't appear to be that Jesus' blood buys them any kind of redemption like it does us. So if the word us is there, then the 24 elders are certainly people, 100%. The question is the word us in the passage? And this is where we get into the very complicated world of biblical translation, of looking at all the ancient manuscripts that we have, and the very diligent work that biblical translators do to try to bring the most true version of ancient texts into our current day. There's thousands of manuscripts that we have found, and as time goes on, this is kind of paradoxical or counterintuitive, but as time goes on, our biblical translations actually get better because we keep digging up more manuscripts, and the more manuscripts we find from antiquity, the better that our translations get, because we have a more clear picture of what all the different ancient manuscripts said. So, in this particular verse, it seems like, and I say seems like, these are things that we're not 100% positive of, that the ancient manuscript evidence seems to show that at some point along the line, the word us was put into the passage. And of course, there's not complete agreement on this from biblical translators because we have different versions of, or different translations out there. But it appears that this word was added in at some point because some older translations don't have it, even though there's actually, this is more information than you wanted to know, but there's more ancient manuscripts that have us in there than manuscripts that do not have the word us in there. But based on the age and location of where these manuscripts are found, the belief is that this came later, and then when it came later, a whole bunch of manuscripts were copied off of that manuscript, which influenced the majority of them going forward from that point on. So, all that's to come back to, probably these 24 angels are some sort of heavenly being, but maybe not. And I'll say if the word us is in the passage, then it is definitely not angels, and it is definitely men. You could probably Google Revelation 5, verse 9, and find out all that information on your own if you're really curious. I assume it's out there, and somebody's probably laid it out in a page really simply for you to understand. We really appreciate you guys sending in these questions once again, and we hope today was helpful.